Today's topic: for sale by owners. How to start or go back to or whatever, listing for sale by owners, right? So if you've never listed one before, or you have in the past, but maybe you need to brush up. So I'm going to share some thoughts or ideas, and then I want to open it up and get other examples of situations or scenarios where you've gotten a for sale by owner listing. So a win, or maybe where you tried and failed, and what what we could sort of maybe dial in on or polish up for folks. And I posted a little YouTube short video this morning on our new Wake Up Real Estate YouTube channel. And I just was on my phone. I've been doing more and more stuff on my phone. I don't know, just trying to be, I guess, more efficient or effective. I don't know. I've just been doing more posts and editing and even just using my phone for many different ways. And so I just went on my Zillow app on my phone and found the for sale by owners on Zillow right on my phone. And in fact, to get ready for this and to polish up myself for this, I pulled up all the available for sale by owners in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, which is a more rural area. And I need to do this for some of the surrounding, either later today or tomorrow. But I pulled up, there were 13 for sale by owner listings on Zillow. And I actually called and or texted every one of them except one. There was one that was like a $5.5 million commercial property. I didn't call that one. And there were several that were lots. So several land listings. But I called, and every time I got a voicemail, I followed up with a text message. I had several great conversations. Nobody's listing with me right off the bat, but it's about having an initial conversation, building relationship and rapport to give yourself the opportunity to take that next step. So, and all I did, again, was I pulled up the Zillow app. I searched for sale by owners in a specific county. And then they don't make the property owner phone number like hot linked or whatever. Like you can't just tap on it and call, but you can copy it, paste it, and hit the call button. And the script I used is the same as our text script. And I've got lots of videos on my YouTube channel, the Josh Schoenly coaching channel, utilizing this. The first piece of the puzzle that we recommend is simply asking if it's still available. Okay, simply asking if it's still available. One of the conversations I had this morning, I was just checking in to see if it's still available. Well, we've got a bunch of showings scheduled this week, and I anticipate looking at offers on Thursday. I said, great, I totally understand. Just curious, would you be open to paying a finder's fee if we brought you an offer that was acceptable to you? And she said, quite honestly, with the activity I have right now, I don't think so. I said, great, I totally get it. Would it be okay with you if I call you next Monday just to see if it's still available and to see how all the offers went? And she was very pleasant. Yes, of course, whatever. And so I have a reminder to call her back next Monday. And my guess is it will still be available. I could be wrong. But I looked at the property, I looked at the listing, and I know that at least for me, for what I've been seeing and experiencing, is she's not going to get the offers that she maybe has in mind. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope for her sake I am, but my guess is I'll have an opportunity to have a second conversation and take it from there. I had a great lengthy conversation with somebody on there. I would say he was more investor or biz develop centered. It was a buildable lot, and he was absolutely open to paying a finder's fee. And my follow-up to him is going to be asking him if we could get the property in the MLS for that same amount that you already agreed to, would you consider listing it with us? So that'll be a follow-up. I got several folks. I got one guy that called me back, blah, 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 just yelling at, like, very standoffish. And that's fine. And I'll follow up with him in a week because it'll still be available in a week because that was one that's been listed for a while and he keeps dropping the price. And so I'll continue to follow up with that. And then I have a couple. Well, here's I think this is very timely. So I've had let me see here. I had one here that I wanted to crowdsource the response. So one said, I left a voicemail, and this was, he actually had a recorded message about the property. So this is a for sale by owner, but he's pretty put together, right? But he did address in the voicemail that if you're a buyer's agent with a buyer, you know, we're willing to cooperate. So I left a voicemail and I followed up with a text message. He said, "Hello, thank you for your message. Are you a buyer agent with specifically a qualified buyer?" To which I responded, yes, because I do have a qualified buyer, in part because this one would qualify, like I could get an offer from our cash offer platform from it. And quite honestly, I do have several clients that are looking for this type of home. It's a single story, maintenance free, sort of perfect for downsizing into, and I've got a bunch for that. So we'll see what that one, but there was one other, this one actually, he hung up on me. And my guess is he thought, I don't know what he thought. I think he may have thought it was like, I was trying to sell him an auto warranty or something. But I immediately followed up with a text that just said, "Hey, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Was just trying to confirm if the property on King Street was still available." He said yes. And my response was, "Thanks. Are you open to paying a 3% finder's fee if we bring you an acceptable offer?" He hasn't replied yet, but we'll see. I thought there was one other one that I was going to crowdsource some thoughts on it, but I'm not seeing it. Here's what I want to do now, though. I'm going to share this process, and then I want to open it up, and I want to let's have let's brainstorm, let's mastermind, let's figure out how we can help everybody get some more for sale by owner listings right now. So where's my document here? Is it here? Yes. So 3 free places that you can find for sale by owners, and then 1 paid resource, right? Because you need the for sale by owners first and foremost. In this video here on this document, which just get back to whoever invited you, they can get you a copy of this document. In that video, I go through the different ways. Number 1 is Zillow. Already showed that. You can do it on your phone, or you can do it on a laptop or desktop. Super easy and totally free. And they will give you the property owner's phone number right on there. That's number 1. Number 2, FSBonanza. I think it's FIZBONZA. That is a tool that Chris and Levi Jones built. They actively sell real estate in North Carolina, and they offer some software to real estate agents. Good guys. They put together a tool where you have to opt in. You have to put your email address in, but then you get immediate access to a free tool that will pull in for sale by owners. You put I think you put a zip code and a radius, and it will go and find all of them and pull them back to you. 2 other free ways, but not as maybe robust or many opportunities, are Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. You can find some for sale by owners there as well. And then the paid, there are several paid platforms that you can use to do this, but the one that we use and recommend is called My Plus Leads. And the for sale by owner data there, I think, is $40 a month. The nice thing with that is if there's an email address associated with the owner, you can get that as well. So you can multi-channel follow-up, call, text, email. Okay. So number 1 is finding them. Number 2 is opening a conversation with them. Okay. So step 1, and this could be by text or by phone. I did it by phone this morning because I don't know. I've been just calling more people, right? I've just been having more phone conversations with people. And I like the one, and I know, here's the thing. I know most of them aren't going to answer, even for sale by owners, but I can leave a voicemail and I can reference in my text message, "I left you a voicemail. Here was the question I was asking." So, but lots of people, Laura Stoddard, she and I have been going back and forth by email. She has been having tremendous success with for sale by owners. She took this flow or scripting process that I'm walking through, and started using it like 2 years ago. She's adapted it and made it her own, and she's having tremendous success. She's in I think the Knoxville, Tennessee area. She's definitely in Tennessee somewhere. But step one is to simply verify, is the home still available? Number two, are you willing to pay a 3% finder's fee? And language matters. The finder's fee is just a softer way to say commission. Okay. Some of them will ask, well, does that mean, are you talking about a commission? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Many of them won't. And they'll just say, yeah, we're cooperating or whatever. And whatever amount they agree to, the next step, and this is where you'll have to just do some work and also figure out the best way that works for you and the best way you can utilize what other tools or systems or things that you have available to you to loop this in. But it could simply be awesome. Thanks for that. Okay. This is after they've agreed to a finder's fee, whatever that amount is. We're going to send your home out to our buyer database ASAP. To schedule a showing, should we call, text, or email? Okay. That's one way. Another way is a free listing platform. Which, by the way, we're going to have the one referenced in here, the example in here. We're going to have the founder of that. Maybe this week, it might not be till next week, on for a free session. And if you're interested in that, just get back to whoever invited you, and they can, if they're already using the tool, they can let you know what it is. And if not, they can tell you. I don't know when I'm chatting with the founder this afternoon, and we're going to find a time to do the sort of demo and best practices with it. Some other responses. We have these as archived, but these work great as well. Awesome. Thanks for that. When would you be available to have a quick chat about the property, right? Where you can verify some information about the property. Or, awesome, thanks for that. When could I come take a quick tour of the property? Okay. And that is one that has worked for me. I haven't listed a ton of for sale by owners over the years, but I have listed a few. And all of the ones that I've listed came after a text or phone conversation and then an in-person showing with the owner, and then following up and following through. Okay, that process. Conversation, appointment, follow-up. Conversation, appointment, follow-up. Okay, whether it's a for sale by owner or James shared a win earlier, right? He had a conversation with an expired listing, he set an appointment, and then he's got to follow up until they say yes or go away, right? Leave me alone. Okay. And that works the same here. So it's a matter of finding within that framework, conversation, appointment, follow-up, within that framework, what works best for you. I'll give a shout out to my guys, Chris and Levi Jones again. Their process, their approach with for sale by owners is different, but it's different but similar. It's the same framework, conversation, appointment, follow-up, but the appointment is they're asking if they can come create a video of the property for their clients that they can then share with the for sale by owner, right? It's a way of providing value to the for sale by owner in advance of expecting anything in return for that value, right? So there are any number of ways or frameworks that you can kind of take this. And in this document, which again, just get back to whoever invited you, they can give you this. You can see example exchanges. So for example, and for some reason, the platform that we use, it goes in reverse order. So the conversations actually start on the bottom. Hi, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Is your home at blank address still available? Thanks. Yes, sir. Are you willing to pay a 3% finder's fee? And this one was offering a $5,000 fee, $5,000 fee. I don't know what the listing price on this was. I don't remember. My guess is that was a small commission percentage, but that's okay. They said yes. It's the conversation, and it could create the opportunity for appointment. Okay. This one here. Same thing. Is it still available? Yes. Terrific. Are you willing to pay a 3% finder's fee? They just said 2.5. possibly 3, depending on the deal. Well, I didn't even say anything. They came back with that. They were negotiating with themselves. And then in this case, we asked for, oh no, this was, this one we had gotten an appointment. Oh, this one goes this way. Jeez Louise. Can you jump on a quick call at 1:30? In that case, we went for the phone conversation. And then we sent a calendar invite to confirm. And you can see some other examples here as well. So anyway, I wanted to share that, but more so, I want to have a conversation about, are you prospecting for sale by owners? What are those conversations? What are those like? And what is working for you, or what have you struggled with? And Harry, some great questions. Fizz Bonanza is from Guerrilla Realty. Yes. And that is not the YouTube guy. Levi, that guy's name is Levi L something, Lashik or something like that. This is Levi Jones. That Levi, the Levi L, he's in Dallas. Levi Jones, he and his team are in North Carolina. I forget what part of North Carolina. I think it's like the southern part of North Carolina. I don't think it's Charlotte, but it's fizzbonanza.com. Thank you, Mark. FIZBONANZA.com. And yes, they offer a video if they don't have one posted, right? So they look at their listing and see, do they have a video? And that's the way they go for the appointment and for how they demonstrate value, right? And build some sense of reciprocity, or feeling of creating some goodwill in the for sale by owner's mind, so that if they aren't able to sell on their own, you've already sort of ingratiated yourself, that's a big word for a Monday, to them, and may get that opportunity if or when the time comes. Here's how I can tell you when I've been successful. It's been conversation, appointment, find some way to provide value to them, and then follow up. For example, one simple example was, I had the conversation, got the appointment. They didn't have the required disclosures completed for the state of Pennsylvania. And I just gave him blank copies of them. Hey, here are blank copies, whether or not I'm able to bring you a buyer, or you sell it yourself, you have to fill these out. So you might as well fill them out. Here are blank copies. By the way, now I can even more easily send them electronically to the person. And then just followed up and just kept following up. In that one, actually, I didn't have to follow up much. I made him an offer of something, a unique way of selling or listing properties that we have, and he was interested. We had a couple of phone conversations, and voila, there you have it. Another instance, the value add was just playing up the information didn't, like, they weren't doing a good job of marketing the property. Okay. And so I made some recommendations. Hey, you may want to think about X or Y or Z to get more exposure and get more interest and get more, people requesting showings, et cetera. And it could be as simple as that. Maybe it may be that they're, I don't know, you have to be careful if they have poor photos, right? You don't want to tell them their photos suck, right? But that you can point to data that, we found that professional photos will oftentimes help with exposure. When we work with a seller, we pay for those professional photos. Here's a recommendation. You can use them. Here's who we use. Or it could be the way they're rearranging the photos. Here's a little hack. On Zillow, when you pull up a property, you'll typically see 4 or 5 photos. And listing agents make this mistake as much as for sale by owners, where all of the photos will be like exterior photos at slight different angles. You want to tell a story in those 4 or 5 photos. So an exterior photo and maybe 2 or 3 interior photos, like featuring some of the most, the coolest parts of the home, right? If it's got a great kitchen or a great big family room or whatever, and then maybe a photo of the exterior, but the back. Maybe it's got an awesome deck or a great view or whatever. Tell a story of the house through photos. And in doing so, you get more people to click through to the listing, right? Which gives more people a chance to request a showing, et cetera. So whether you're a listing agent, you should do that, or that's a way that you can be of value to the for sale by owner. Hey, we've seen that when we list properties, that if we do this, we get more exposure. In other words, more eyeballs on the listing, and more eyeballs mean more opportunities for showings. So questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, what's worked, what hasn't worked, right? Because what doesn't work is as value as what does work, right? Like if you figured out the ways not to do something, just, do less of that and more of what we know does work. A simple one is don't be combative with them. If you're trying to convince them that selling for sale by owner is stupid, right? And you lead with data, that doesn't mean that you can't make that argument after you've earned the right of relationship and rapport a little bit. But if you're leading with that, that's a very, it's very quick way to repel them from you forever.
Yeah,
other thoughts, questions, ideas? James, sorry, go ahead.
I haven't been doing it recently, but we did set up a YouTube channel called Showing the 303. That's our main area code. And I'd go shoot videos. I even did it for some other agents that aren't even in our group to just kind of generate some interest as well.
And I know that there are folks in our industry here that have had success offering to hold the for sale by owner house open, right? To hold an open house on behalf of the for sale by owner. Okay. And that could be a great way to generate more opportunities for you as well, right? Because only one person's going to buy that house. But if you get that permission, that you're providing value to the for sale by owner. And let's be honest, if they're agreeing to a commission, does it matter if you bring the buyer or you list it? One way or another, you're getting one side. Now, the only caveat would be if you're dual agent on it and you're getting both transaction side, okay. But let's try and get one or the other, right? Does it matter as far as financially, compensation wise? Who cares, right? And so one of the ways that so one of those example scripts was, we're going to let our database know about this. That's not like, that's not just lip service. We'll go into our database. We'll find a similar home that's listed on the market. We'll find what matching buyers we have in our database and let them know, hey, I've got this off MLS option that I thought you might be interested in. Would you like us to send more information or schedule a private VIP tour? Or you get permission to do the open house and you send that to your matching buyers. Hey, I've got this off MLS property that's available right now. It seems to fit the criteria you're looking for. I'm going to be holding it open, this day from this time to this time. Would you like to join me for the open house? Okay. And so you're providing benefit to your buyer database. You're demonstrating value and service to your potential clients, and you're demonstrating value and service to the for sale by owner as well. Other thoughts or ideas? What's worked, not worked? Any tricks of the trade to share for the good of the group?
I did, for the first time, share a property with my database. Haven't gotten any feedback on it yet, but it, like you say, it opens up some goodwill and a conversation with that seller, even if I didn't get anybody.
Yep.
And then I can come back and say, well, my database, I didn't have anybody directly, but we list on the MLS, we're opening it up to way more.
Yep. And you could even demonstrate how you did that. Hey, just wanted to let you know, I sent it to this amount of people right from our day. And that, just the fact that, this actually reminds me of something I used to do when I first started selling real estate. You're demonstrating the fact that you're good to your word, right? I told you I was going to share this with my buyer database. Here's how I did that. That differentiates yourself, right? And what I used to do, this is like 2007, 8, 9, somewhere in this when I would go on a listing appointment, not necessarily with a for sale by owner, though it would work, is I would print out my email database. Now, this is before we could do like fancy stuff where we could see like their property interests and so forth. It was just my entire email database. I would print it out and have it with me. Hey, this is who we're going to show your property to first and foremost. This is our email database of interested buyers here in Central PA. Does that mean that someone on here is definitely going to buy your house? No, but this is, I was demonstrating to them something that we do that they weren't seeing. Other people weren't doing that. Other people weren't demonstrating to that degree.
Hey, Josh, do you share the actual address when you share those out, or you just like I just put 2 pictures, pick 2 and a description, but I didn't share the actual address?
I don't, unless that gets to that, unless we've had a conversation. Like I don't tell them the address in the initial communication. Surprisingly, like you would think the first question they would ask back is what's the address? And some do, but most actually will ask other things first, like what's the price, or if I didn't include, I will typically only include minimal information, if for no other reason than to keep it kind of punchy, and to open conversations, right? To get them asking questions, because oftentimes those are people that I haven't had conversation with. So we may determine that for sale by owner listing is not a good fit for them, but now I can update their priority or their property search alerts to fit what they're actually looking for. And when they tell me their story, they're less likely to be telling others that story. And I increase the odds that, I'm going to get to work with them if or when the time comes. Other questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas? And if we certainly can pivot from for sale by owners to anything for the good of the group at this point, if that makes sense. Nothing? Anybody? Well, let's do this here. So I've got the time allotted, so I'm going to pull up Zillow. I'm curious. I didn't have time this morning to look at the other counties that I service. And I'm also curious, I only had 13 in all of Cumberland County. And the reality was like 4 of them were land. That was that one that was commercial, that, didn't really logically make sense to go after, in my estimation. Winifred, I can show how to find them on Craigslist as well. Absolutely. So on that little short, I was doing Cumberland County, but let's pull up Dauphin County. Maybe that's why I've been using my phone more, because I don't get the lagging on my phone. My phone responds a little faster. Okay, so Dauphin County. And the first thing we're going to do is, you know what, it may even be easier. I think if you just click on 28 other listings. Now, this may be FSBOs and also, because I think they pull for sale by, pre-foreclosure in to a certain degree as well. Let's see what happens if I just do that. That might be a little shortcut. And actually, you could treat, you don't want to call them and ask them if it's still available, but you could call and see, you could use our sort of universal direct offer of, would you consider selling your property, your home at XYZ address to one of our clients for the right price. So eventually this will load up here. So there's some for sale by owner, there's some new construction, there's some auction. So if I want to make sure that we're getting for sale by owner, I've got to go here. And from the drop down, for sale. Deselect, 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 deselect. And apply. 14. So there are 14 in Dauphin. Not that many more than in Cumberland County. But I'll have to work my way through these later today, or actually probably later today while I'm waiting in between appointments. That's the other reason why I've been using my phone more is, you know, I'm constantly driving somewhere, someone somewhere, or waiting for someone to finish up something, a workout or something or other. And, you know, finding more, you know, effective, efficient ways to just get into conversations with people. You know, this business is simple. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple. Conversations, appointments, closings, right? Or clients. Conversations, appointments, clients. That's really what it comes down to. And whether those conversations happen by phone, by text, by direct message or private message or email or in person, you got to have a conversation to get some kind of appointment. You got to have some kind of appointment to turn it into a client. So Harry says Father's Day is coming up soon, a new computer for you. I really don't think it's my computer. What I've determined is it's my dang internet in my house. And I'm just so tired of fighting with numerous internet providers to get it fixed. I don't know what else to do, because if it doesn't seem to be as problematic if I'm even like on the Starbucks Wi-Fi, you know, if I go to so anyway, but I don't know, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. Oh, Craigslist. Sorry, Winifred. Craigslist. So Craigslist has, now you have to be careful, not careful, but Craigslist will, hold on. There are some people, agents, let's say, that will post under for sale by owner, whether it, I'm going to say it's not intentional, but you may find that some of the listings that are showing up as by owner in Craigslist are actually by broker. They're just misclassified. And this, you know, in some markets, you may find a whole lot more than in other markets, let's say, right? Like depending on how rural an area or densely populated an area, or depending on, you know, if you're just in an area where Craigslist is more universally used or ubiquitous, let's say. So go to real estate for sale. And then I promise you, it should not take you this long to get it to load up. Then you're going to choose over here. You select owner, and it'll switch to by owner. And some of these seems like maybe investor turnkey deals or something. Better than 1%, ready to rent or quick flip. I don't know. Here's a lot for sale. Handyman services. That's obviously not a property for sale. Multi-unit. I don't know. Let's click on that. And what you'll get is you should get an email address that you can email sort of through Craigslist, through their platform. And in some cases,
Josh, is it possible that some stuff like that's on Craigslist or Marketplace or whatever wouldn't be pulled through My Plus Leads, or is it pretty My Plus Lead's pretty legit about grabbing.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if they have Craigslist as a data feed in My Plus Leads. I don't know. But I will say that I didn't end up getting this listing, but I had an appointment, this is probably 2 years ago, with a for sale by owner that was not on Zillow. It was on like one of the for sale by owner sites, but My Plus Leads found it. So if I had only been using Zillow, I wouldn't have had that appointment. Now, it didn't end up working out. It was like this crazy house that had this fire and a wild situation with it was a blessing that I didn't get it, because it would have been more of a hassle than it was worth, to be honest. But I wouldn't have had that conversation if I was only relying on Zillow for the for sale by owner listings. This is interesting. You can reply here. But what's funny is the guy says call to set up walkthrough. There's no phone number in this listing. All you can do is reply. You can hit the reply and it'll send an email through them. So I don't see a phone number anyway. So that's how you can find them on Craigslist. I can't show you on Facebook Marketplace because I'm banned. They threw me off of there 2 years ago for breaking their community standards. So I can't show you on there. But through there, what you would most likely have to do is through the sending a private messaging through Facebook to get that conversation going to see if there's an opportunity for an appointment.